Let's go to the AFC breakdown.
This year, we're gonna talk about this year, Jim.
We're gonna see.
Quit playing in the past.
We're gonna play this year. We'll find
Okay.
out.
All right. This leads to the AFC North division breakdown. Keith will have something to say here because, as Baltimore Guru, he is a Ravens fan
Yes.
because he likes birds more than turtles. Last year's standings, the Bengals 10-7, obviously were in the playoffs, made it to the Super Bowl. The Steelers in second place, 9-7-1. The Browns 8-9, and the Ravens also at 8-9. So, as is the theme, we will start with the best team and then work to the worst team. The Bengals, key losses. Tight end CJ Uzoma and defensive tackle Larry Ogunjobi. And I do know that's how you say it. Key additions for the Bengals, they brought in tackle Lyle Collins on the offensive side of the ball, guard Alex Kappa, guard Ted Karras, and tight end Hayden Hurst. Offensively, we all know the show is led by Joe Burrow. At back, they still have Joe Mixon, and wide receiver, they have the superstar from last year, Jamar Chase, along with T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd, and Hayden Hurst is coming in as the new tight end. On the defensive side of the ball, they have lineman DJ Reader and Trey Hendrickson, and defensive back Chidobe Awuzie, along with Von Bell and Eli Apple. Eli Apple often criticized for how he gave up some big plays, especially in the Super Bowl.
And so basically existing in life, like his entire way he handles life.
Right. He's there and he just keeps getting it. Questions for the Bengals. Will Joe Burrow continue to elevate his game in the Bengals team this year?
Yes.
I think he will continue to elevate, but not at the rate he did last year. Last year was phenomenal. Recovering from an ACL, he came out of nowhere. I know the offensive line is significantly improved. I think Joe Burrow was the highest sacked quarterback in the NFL.
That's probably true.
Yeah, I mean, the man spent more time on his back than he did upright. I actually feel bad for him, but I don't think the elevation will be as significant as last year.
All right. I do think, I mean, Joe Burrow, he can only continue to go up. So again, it's just the team going to come along for the ride? Will the defense be exposed as they were during the Super Bowl?
No, I think it will not happen as bad. It will happen, but it will not happen as bad.
I agree with that.
Yeah. And in this division, it's not like there are some great pass throwing quarterbacks that are sitting there in the wings waiting.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And can the running game keep defenses off balance throughout the year?
Yes.
I think this is the issue. And I don't think this is going to happen, unfortunately, for Joe Burrow.
Again, I think it goes back to the division. I think that I don't think there's a defense out there right now in this division.
You don't?
No.
I would disagree with that, and we will get to that. For many teams in this division, defense is going to be pretty good.
I'm not worried about it.
This is a division where defense is typically the strength.
I don't think so this year. I don't think so this year. I disagree.
I think if Jamar Chase and T. Higgins grow and mature with Joe Burrow, I think the receivers sort of reverse psychology will open up some of the running game.
Fair enough. Next, we move on to the Steelers. From Pittsburgh,
let's do that. Let's move on to them.
We'll move on to them, and we will cover them, Jim. We will not move past them. The Steelers' key losses, Juju Smith-Schuster lost to the Chiefs, cornerback Joe Hayden, and strong safety Terrell Edmonds.
And that's to other teams. What about the injury report?
Go ahead, Jim. Talk about the injury report.
Some people got hurt.
Did they really get hurt?
Lots of people are hurt, Muff.
Who, Jim? Tell me who.
JJ Watt's hurt. Or TJ Watt's hurt.
Yeah, the best Watt, don't forget.
I gave that to you a long time ago.
Who else? Since apparently there's significant...
Devontae Johnson's hurt.
Deontay Johnson?
Yeah, he's hurt.
Who they're both said to have no issues being able to start the season.
Chase Claypool.
Also.
Calvin Austin the third is hurt.
Are you just looking at the injury report? Did you just Google the injury report?
I just Googled the injury report. Got some injuries.
We have injuries in the last preseason game, which meant that, I just didn't want to play anymore. My knee hurts, guys. It's like a Rodney Dangerfield moment in Caddyshack. Oh, my arm.
So you're saying the Steelers don't have heart, is what I'm hearing.
Mike Tomlin's the coach. They're all heart, Jim.
The players aren't, though.
Quarterback, Mitchell Trubisky. Addition, quarterback Levi Wallace, linebacker Miles Jack, offensive lineman James Daniels. Some of the key additions on the offensive side of the ball. For the offense, led by, for now, quarterback Mitch Trubisky, probably to be at some point this season, Kenny Pickett. Najee Harris is obviously the workhorse on the offensive side of the ball, and wide receivers Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, and the hopeful heir to be the next best wide receiver in Pittsburgh, George Pickens, joined tight end Pat Freiermuth from Penn State. On the defensive side of the ball, we have Cameron Hayward from
The Ohio State.
Good. TJ Watt, the best Watt. And they also have linebacker Devin Bush, who is under a lot of scrutiny in Pittsburgh this year, and defensive back Minkah Fitzpatrick, who at the time he signed his extension was the highest paid safety in the league. No longer is that true. Questions in the Steel City. How many games until Kenny Pickett is quarterback one in Pittsburgh? Over, under 6 games. Go.
Under.
I think it's a push. I think game 6 is when it happens.
Oh, look at you. Cheeky.
I make the line. I'm Vegas here.
That's cheeky.
Will Najee Harris be able to sustain his snap count and production this season?
Maybe.
I say yes.
Najee Harris was interviewed during the preseason game today at the end, and they asked, is this an issue? And he pretty much said, nah, man, why would that be an issue? I'm me. I'm great.
He's young enough. He is strong enough to endure the season, even with 17 games. I think he continues the production. I would say in the next 3 years is when you would really start to question or start to limit maybe some of his touches.
And finally, is George Pickens the next big wide receiver for the Steelers? Crickets. Got it. I think he is.
I think he is too. He looked good in some of the preseason games.
I don't know.
You don't know? You didn't watch any of these games, Jim?
That's what I mean. I don't know. I don't like Steelers on TV. Turn channel. Why do I care?
He's honest.
He is. Just for that, Jim, you get to break down the Browns.
They suck. Let's move on to Baltimore. Key losses: wide receiver Rashad Higgins, wide receiver Jarvis Landry, center J.C. Treader, tight end Austin Hooper. Key additions: I don't even know why this dumbass is an addition. Deshaun Watson, see you at game 11. Wide receiver Amari Cooper, quarterback Jacoby Brissett. Those additions suck.
Amari Cooper came from the Cowboys.
That's the only addition that's worth a damn, and even then. Okay, offense. Deshaun Watson and Jacoby Brissett are not the quarterback. So who's the quarterback? Who knows?
Jacoby Brissett is.
Running back Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Ernest Johnson. Wide receiver Amari Cooper, Devon Peoples-Jones. Tight end David Njoku. Defense Myles Garrett, Clowney. Damn. This is why I should not have this many whiskeys before we do this show. DBs Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome.
And to be fair, I did give you a team that didn't have a lot of difficult names to pronounce.
I know. Again, the whiskey. Questions. Can Brissett keep the Browns on track for the first 11 games? Hell no.
That's a long time. The answer, no.
Will the running backs get enough touches across the board to keep them happy? Hell no.
Agreed.
Kareem Hunt will not be happy come week 6.
What happens if the Browns are 7-4 or better going into game 12? The sky is falling.
Agreed.
Does Deshaun Watson play then? If they're 7-4 or better?
Yes, I would say yes.
They gotta hit them ratings for that Texan game.
That's true.
For the Browns to give up. Oh yeah, that is true. I forgot that game 11 game where it's being played.
They got to make it rain money for the NFL. And does Brissett continue to get the QB nod if they're 7-4 after game 12 with the Texans? Sure.
So he's just Deshaun Watson out for that game and like, you suck. Get off field.
Yeah, pretty much. The Browns are in a world of hurt.
It amazes me how the Browns are always have been the Browns, and just they continue to do Brown-like things. And I don't understand why they can't get out of their own way. I just don't understand. Every year when you think, oh yeah, they're going to be really good, there's something that happens and you just shake your head, and no one's surprised about it.
Browns is the Browns. That's
Yep.
that's the statement right there. It's been said, and that is it. The Browns
On paper, the 2 previous years, they should have been freaking contenders.
Agreed.
And they just botched that so hard. It's a shame.
Will you watch that week 1 matchup with Carolina?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And I'll be cheering for Baker.
Oh, I think he's definitely the fan favorite.
Yeah.
When you get dealt dirty like that, of
Yep.
course you're going to root for him.
Absolutely. So Keith, it's your time to shine, buddy.
Oh boy.
your screen even like gives you a little bit of a purplish hue.
Purple
It does
hue.
give you a purple hue.
Well, that's not by design. That's just the poor lighting I have in my room here in West Virginia.
Outside of Morgantown.
Appease Jim.
Watch out, Jim may set fire to it later.
It's that radiation down there.
So bringing up, I can't believe I'm about to say this, bringing up the rear in the AFC North were the Ravens at 8-9, tied with the Browns. They have had some significant losses in a way. The most recent would have been Poe, the Ravens mascot, was tackled. It was part of, I believe it was part of a halftime show or might have been a pre warm-up routine, but he was tackled and tore his ACL is what the initial reports say.
Oh, great.
So,
Carted off the field.
yes.
I think if I remember right, this is like one of those games with like middle school kids.
Yes, and people thought it was part of the act at first, and then I think they started to realize, oh no, he's actually hurt. So a speedy recovery to Poe. And hopefully his replacement has as much energy and enthusiasm as he did, or she did.
Is the replacement Edgar Allen?
So they have 3. I think they had 3 birds, and then Poe was the most popular. They might have condensed it down to just 1. I'm not sure. But yes, they did have a few at one point in time. So moving on, key losses, we have their center, Bradley Bozeman. He went on to the Panthers. Offensive tackle Alejandro Villanueva retired, which was, I think, the right move. And kudos to the Steelers for letting him walk off into the sunset, a hero, as he did, leaving Pittsburgh and joining the Ravens, where he underperformed, I would say, in a tough situation. They also lost their cornerback, Anthony Averett, wide receiver, Marquise Brown, Sammy Watkins, their cornerback, Tavon Young, Jimmy Smith, I think, is still a free agent. Safety, Deshaun Elliott went to the Lions, and cornerback, Anthony Averett. Elliott went to the Lions, like I said, and Averett went to Vegas. Key additions, they had a ton of draft picks, a couple big free agency signings. The big one would be safety Marcus Williams. They have offensive tackle Morgan Moses, who was, I believe, recovering from an injury last year. It might have been injury or COVID. I can't remember which one. And then they brought back defensive tackle Michael Pierce from a few years ago. They have running back Mike Davis, defense end Calais Campbell re-signed with the team. They have Ronnie Stanley, hopefully returning from IR. He was absent 16 games last year. He tried coming back the first game, ankle injury, and just wasn't able to roll. They added safety Kyle Hamilton, center Tyler Linderbaum, and David Ajabo. He is recovering from an Achilles tear, so I doubt he plays this year. They have defensive tackle Travis Jones and punter Jordan Stout.
Punter.
Yes, they did draft a punter.
From Penn State.
Yes, very surprised by that move, but he's done a pretty good job in preseason. So we'll see what happens. A lot of comings and goings. Their team was decimated by injuries last year.
Yes. Yes, I was going to say that.
And by diarrhea.
I think that was the year before.
You're right.
But I mean, I was reading a stat since they've been keeping, how many games won or lost because of injury. The Ravens are the only team, and I think it's by a substantial amount, to have lost so many games because of injury. It's by a landslide. I don't know how you calculate that, but that is the case. So on offense, they still have Lamar Jackson. They have J.K. Dobbins returning from injury, and Gus Edwards, who is on the IR. He will be out for 4 games. Hopefully he will returning. I believe his was an ACL as well. They have Mike Davis. They have wide receiver Rashad Bateman, Demarcus Robinson, who they recently added, and Devin Duvernay. They still have tight end Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely, who is a name you will learn over the next year. I think he is going to be a breakout tight end replacement.
Draft him in the fantasy league.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was going to say.
Anyone who's in the fantasy league, I would not draft him. He's their 3rd string tight end. If you're desperate, maybe. Don't listen to Jim and Muff. They're here to sabotage your team. So let's see. So that brings us to their defense. In the middle, they have Calais Campbell, like we mentioned earlier. They have Patrick Queen going into his 3rd or 4th year. They still have Marcus Peters and Marlon Humphrey. And they now have Michigan's Mike McDonald. Interesting. Mike McDonald was an assistant coach with the Ravens, left, went to Michigan for a year, and then was brought back by the Ravens. Speculation would be that this was the plan all along, but he did good things at Michigan, proved himself, so he is back. I don't know how he gets creative. He's got a pretty stout defense to work with, so we'll see what happens. I think a lot of people coming back from IR is going to make that defense pretty potent.
When you have a player like a Calais Campbell, I mean, it's got to be good, right, Keith?
Oh yes, he's he's pretty good.
Two references.
So questions: will Lamar Jackson stay healthy, and will he perform up to par with his pending contract negotiations? Muff?
I think Lamar Jackson, he's going to perform no matter what. I think he's handling his own contract negotiation. I think he's publicly stated that if this isn't figured out by the time the season starts, then that's going to be put on hold. Mm-hmm. So Lamar Jackson is the show there. Can he stay healthy is going to be the bigger question.
Jim, do you think he's going to stay healthy?
Yeah, I think so.
He did have injury last 4 games of the season last year, ankle injury, wasn't able to play. So people are citing that as a reason for apprehension, maybe signing a contract. But he was in the pocket. He wasn't out running, is his point.
He's yoked now, though.
He's a pretty big guy now. So, all right, let's see. Moving forward, let's see. Will the rest of the running game be able to protect Lamar Jackson?
J.K. Dobbins will.
If J.K. Dobbins stays healthy,
he'll be fine.
He was a beast his rookie season.
He's a monster.
Yes. Kudos to Ohio State there.
No.
Thank you. See, Keith can come on the show anytime he wants.
No. I don't think the rest of the running game is going to be able to protect Lamar, and that's going to be the problem.
Why do you think?
I think that they're going to have ineffective running game, whether it's offensive line issues or whether it's for injuries, and Lamar Jackson is going to be shouldering the load again. That's the problem. That's the problem that the Ravens have, and I think it's going to continue to be the problem this year.
Okay. So if he has to shoulder the games, does he have the capability to pass the ball well enough to keep defenses honest?
No, and that's the other problem.
I feel like you're just a Lamar hater right now, Muff.
Muff's kind of an ass. It's okay.
I mean, that's me.
He plays the spoil for the people we like. It's just what happens.
I do think the system he is in, I do think Greg Roman, the offensive coordinator, needs to shoulder some of the load. I think he is setting the team up for failure at times. and that is not Lamar's fault, even though he's the one who's getting all of the credit, good or bad. That does fall back on Greg Roman. So,
Greg
but
Roman.
we will leave it at that. He is I guess, the offensive guru when it comes to mobile quarterbacks. You go back to his time with San Francisco and Kaepernick. I don't know what happens.
Is he the
next year.
namesake for Roman Swipes?
I don't know.
You know
No.
about those, right, Jim?
Come on,
Nothing.
Muff.
Nothing. 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 Projected standings in the AFC North Division. Let's I will start. I think let Keith go last.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay, I'll start. Bringing up the rear, I have the Browns at 7-10, followed by the Ravens at 8-9, the Steelers at 9-8. Gotta get that winning season, and the Bengals on top of this division at the end at 12-5.
I have the Browns at 5-12, the Ravens at 8-9, the Steelers at 10-7, the Bengals at 11-6.
I have the Browns at 0-17. Just kidding. I think 6-10-1, just because I feel like that's a Browns things to do.
Yeah, that's.
I have the Steelers at 9-8, the Bengals at 10-7, and the Ravens at 12-5.
Look at this guy. Comes on and the Ravens win the division. So,
I mean,
question to the group: how would this change if Deshaun Watson was playing all games? Would it change?
I think they might have a few more wins, but I think they are still bottom of the AFC.
I think they're third. Yeah, I think they're third for me.
Over
The
who?
Ravens.
The Ravens? Judging,
They might beat the Steelers twice,
oh,
and that would change things up for me.
Fair enough. Well, thank you, Keith, for joining us for the Big Ten and AFC North breakdowns here. You can catch all this on the YouTube as usual. And this wraps up this extended edition of what will be known as, Jim,
The football season.